is a show that focuses on the person behind the Brony. I'm your host, Osaka Jack. Please sit back and relax as we talk to this week's guest Brony. Hello everyone, this is Osaka Jack with Into the Spotlight. With me today I have an artist who you should check out, definitely. But one of the more interesting names that I've spoken to. PYOO-kee Pony. Hello.
Hi.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing very good today.
Okay.
I'm having a relaxing day today.
That's so nice, isn't it good?
Yes.
I've reached a point in my life where I can have a relaxing day, but I've got to plan it a few weeks ahead of time.
Oh. Yeah.
All right, this day I'm going to relax between this and this time. That's relaxing time, and I'm doing nothing. All right, so I have to ask, what is the story on the name?
Well.
The spelling is not...
the spelling is a new thing.
Okay,
like,
the spelling is...
The previous to that, I was just going by PYOO-kee-chan. P-U-K-E-Y.
Okay.
PYOO-kee.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I go by PYOO-kee is because when I was a little girl, my mother called me PYOO-kee Ann. Ann's my middle name.
Okay.
And I don't know. I like it. I know it's kind of it's not, doesn't conjure the best mental images, but
I'm just curious why you had this nickname. Was this like your special talent, or?
I think it was just that I had a milk allergy.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I really don't know. To be honest, I think she was called PYOO-kee Ann by her mother.
Oh, okay. So it's a family tradition then.
Kind of,
I
yeah.
see. You come from a long line of PYOO-keers.
PYOO-kee Anns.
I see. Okay. So technically, you're PYOO-kee Ann the second.
Yeah, I guess I am.
Or Junior. PYOO-kee Ann Junior.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that sounds odd, doesn't it? Well, I mean, except for, the PYOO-kee part. No. I'm just saying, Junior, doesn't it sound like there should be a feminine version of that? I mean, Junior, I imagine a male.
Yeah, and a long time ago, they just named their girls, like, in the Middle Ages. They just named their girls after the male. That's what they would just name the female, like, whatever the male version of, or the female version of the patriarch's name was, And so, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I have a few students who are the second person in their family to have the name, and instead of going by their name, they just use the name Junior.
Uh-huh.
So it's literally their name, Junior. That's what they want to be called, and that's what I call them. But every one of them is male.
Yeah, right, yeah.
It just, I suppose it works. Okay, so PYOO-kee Junior. Hello. Sorry, PYOO-kee Ann Junior. Yes. Don't want to confuse you with the PYOO-kee Smiths down the block, or...
No PYOO-kee Joes or PYOO-kee Marys.
PYOO-kee Joe's would be like the competing donut shop that doesn't get any business.
Oh, yeah, I guess that would be a pretty bad name.
Well, if anybody's not familiar with your stuff, can you explain what do you do?
Well, I mean, I do mostly just digital work. I mean, as far as the ponies go, I drew anime kind of stuff previous to drawing ponies, and
Sure.
so I think I think the anime part of my art kind of shows through, because everybody comes to it. Well, there's some people who they kind of have like a purist look about it. They want it to look like the show.
Yeah.
That's what they want out of it. And then there's other people that they would rather do like kind of their own little spin on it. Mm-hmm. And I guess I fall into more of that category.
Okay.
So they kind of come off as this very like pony anime hybrid.
Okay. So ponime.
Ponime, yeah. And most of the time I like doing people's original characters. Like, I like that more than doing characters of the show, because I really like it when, like, somebody kind of pours their heart and soul into coming up with this character that either they feel like represents them or is just somebody that they look up to, kind of, that they've created.
Sure.
And I love trying to figure that out. It's like a puzzle. You have to you have to figure out from what they're saying, what they have in their mind, and try to give it back to them, and of course it always has your own flavor on it, but
right.
You try to get it as close to their vision as possible, and just nothing thrills me more than like getting a comment where somebody says like, "Wow, you captured it, you got my character," and that makes my week.
That's great. Have you ever had the reverse happen where somebody's just like, "Wow, no"?
Yeah, I have, and I've made
really.
mistakes.
Oh my goodness, I was making a bad joke. I'm sorry.
Well, it's okay. We all, if anybody who's an artist of any stripe will tell you that most of what you produce as an artist is not very good. If you look at you can, and I've had enough art class, art history classes to tell you that not everything like Michelangelo did was was awesome. Like he did some really weird looking stuff.
Sure.
And the Renaissance is full of these weird babies. Have you ever seen when they used to paint babies before they understood?
Yes.
And they just look like little men.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's just kind of how it is with artists in general. You have all this art that's just not good, and occasionally you produce something that's good, and you just kind of try to forget the bad stuff as much as possible, and you try to show people all your good work.
Well, it's the mistakes are fine as long as you learn from them.
Oh yeah. Well, as I said, not everything I put out, anything. It's not very good. Most of the sketches I do are not very good. I just occasionally, I make enough mistakes that I hit the right spot. That it looks okay. Which I still feel like I have a lot to learn, but I have made mistakes. I've done people's characters at conventions and stuff, and they write down the features of the character, and I try to put it out, and I don't know, maybe I didn't hear what the eye color was supposed to be, and I put a wrong eye color, and most of the time a lot of people are they're just too nice, they won't say anything, but occasionally somebody will be like, hey, that's wrong, I paid for this, fix it.
Sure, let me erase the colors. Yes, yeah, that's easy.
I usually just try to make some sort of compromise of some sort. Hey, what if I just knock a few dollars off?
Yeah.
Sometimes I can find a way to kind of put something somewhere to kind of cover it up, or maybe do something real quick that'll kind of fix it. But you can't fix everything, of course. And
sure.
I try to knock a few dollars off. I hope I don't want them to.
Honestly, the only thing I can think, if I'm asking an artist to do my OC, unless they come back to me with a different, mine is an earth pony, but if they come back to me with a Pegasi or a unicorn or alicorn, I might be, no.
Yeah.
But except for that, I don't know. I can just see it being an artistic style otherwise. Or even you know what, unicorn, let's put just some rubber bands on it, and he's cosplaying a unicorn. There we go.
Well, I guess it's just that, they have such a specific image.
Yeah.
And for some people, and especially, I've noticed with a lot of very young people, that may be the first convention they've ever been to. And they're just expecting, just a wonderful time, and,
sure.
something a little wrong, might be very upsetting to them, because, I've been to a few, and, I've gotten artwork from a bunch of people, and I kind of know things happen. You didn't quite hear something right. Maybe you didn't give them all the details you should have gave them.
Right. Okay.
So I'm one of those I'm not gonna say anything unless it's kind of, as you said, it's just so wrong.
Yeah. 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 If I ask for just, can we have a picture of him having spaghetti, and all of a sudden we get a picture of something that cannot be shown on a kid's network. No. But, let's see, I'm taking a glance. Some of the OCs that you've done, I recognize Eiley Monty's very easily.
Oh, yeah, that was the most recent that I uploaded.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed doing that character. That character, I felt when I drew it, it just really flowed out.
Yeah.
It was already... sometimes I get characters that maybe aren't very realized. You know, and I have to kind of like sort it out. But hers was already so realized, you know.
Yeah.
It was already just such its own like personality.
Yeah. Well, I can see. I think some people, when they create it, they have a general idea, but they want to see what it can do. Whereas other people have already developed the character completely and just, can you draw the character that I've finished?
Right. Yeah. You just kind of, it just depends on what part of the process I guess the artist gets involved in.
Yeah. I am curious, though. I see occurring a few times toxic.
That's my original character.
Okay.
I wanted to do I wanted a villain
Okay.
pony because I like villains shows. um, and you know, like in a lot of ways, she's not totally realized either.
Okay.
I'm kind of slow to come about my own characters, I guess.
I don't think it's something that should ever be forced, because that's when you get red and black alicorns with rainbow wings.
Oh yeah, yeah. I see plenty of those.
Yep. Yep. I think we all do. Oh, and neon eyes. Gotta have neon and bat wings. Yep.
Yeah, or
And a
just
broken horn.
you know, you see some that maybe I think like a lot of times as artists, you know, you get to where you see you're just kind of like a sponge for all the information around you, and sometimes you don't know where that information came from,
Yeah.
and you can even think it came from your inside your own head.
Mm-hmm.
And so you'll see people who put out original characters, probably not intentionally, that just look like other people's.
Yeah.
You know, because you know, the character will have some sort of defining feature, and you'll see it in another person's, and that would make me just like really sad. If I did one that was such a notable knockoff, like I mean, of course you know I do the same thing. I see what other artists do, and it you know sometimes you know all the time that's encouraging me to try new things in my own art.
Sure.
But you know I try to do it in such a way as to not feel like I'm just like ripping this person off.
Right. Right. Well, that it should influence, but not be your main aspect, I believe.
Yeah, if it's derivative, you know, there should be some you should kind of let somebody know, hey, I wanted to try a style like this person. You know, which usually, I mean, I do pieces like that where I'll see somebody's artwork and I kind of try to do it myself, but that's not the art I would I post.
Right. Right.
I keep that for myself.
Sure. Sure. And there's nothing wrong with somebody switching up their style now and then. That's absolutely fine.
Oh yeah. I mean, if you look at some of my really old ponies, now they were posted. I think I don't remember what year, but I think maybe like 2011. I think.
Okay.
But I drew them like way before then. I liked the original My Little Pony, the season, the Generation 1 My Little Pony. Although I can't tell you anything about the characters because the characters were not very well developed.
Yeah.
I think it was just the potential of the show that I always liked, and not the show itself, you know.
Right.
And so, you know, like almost every girl, you know, had to have their own like ponies where they put, you know, they made their own. So I had some that were a little more inspired by the old stuff, and they looked terrible. They are just mutants hanging out in my gallery.
Okay.
But I don't want to get rid of them because, like, you know, I kind of like that I can see where things have changed.
Sure. Yeah, it's good to see how you have grown as an artist, and ignoring how you used to do things is not a good idea.
Yeah, not entirely.
Granted, you know, I mean, it's inevitable that our past will embarrass us at some point.
Yeah.
I guarantee you and every other person out here, there will come a time where you will look at your friend and go, man, do you remember when we used Twitter? Oh my God! Guarantee you it will happen.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, like Facebook is now kind of becoming that. It's not there yet, but it's getting there, you know.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, now I always feel like I go on there, you know, mostly because I'm addicted to Candy Crush. You know, I occasionally read what people say on there. But you know, it's mostly now like it's like mostly my relatives. You know, it's like it used to be where it was mostly like people I knew from conventions and stuff.
Right.
And now it's mostly my relatives, and I'm like, Okay, this is about to become the next MySpace.
Yeah, I think we can
You can
invent a
just
new verb right here.
it's like
We can
once
say that Facebook is about to go MySpacing.
yeah, it's like once your mom gets really into it, you can't get into it anymore. It's just
Well,
not cool.
that I mean, I know quite a few other people have multiple Twitter accounts, and granted, I use one a lot more than the others, but I've
Uh-huh.
got one account for this show and the Pony fandom, and I've got another account for me. And it's not that I'm embarrassed to be a brony, it's just I don't want my family in my business.
Oh no, I understand totally. I mean, some people can be so like judgmental
Yeah,
about things that are really they're not a big deal. I mean, I being from the South, I deal with a lot of that.
sure. Oh, yeah.
I think there was some clown. I don't want to say his name, but he was at the University of Auburn talking about the inherent evils of role playing games.
Ah, yes.
It's and
Sure.
I was just like, why didn't that die in the 80s? Like, and I'm just like, here we are. First, I mean, it's just kind of like this attitude that there's something. I think a lot of people have this idea that geeks have some dark underlying agenda for some reason, just like a general
Yeah.
distrust
Okay.
of geeky things. Like
I think
table
that there are
like.
some people who believe that any group that is not me or any group that is not I understand has a dark agenda against me.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess it's like kind of black and white. You're either for or against me, kind
Yeah. Or not even that, just you are my group or them.
of. Yes, yes. All my
I,
friends are unique individuals, or your friends are clones.
we are unique and individual just like every single buddy else. We all have our own decisions. Why are you wearing that hat? We'd agreed on the purple hat today.
Yeah, I think there was a Jonan Vasquez little comic in what was it, Johnny the Homicidal Maniac, where it's just a single panel comic where there's all these kind of goth looking people, and they all
Yeah.
look exactly the same. And they say, we are individuals, and then there's like a caption that says something like, "Oh my God, you see the guy wearing jeans?"
Yeah. I'm reminded of the Gary Larson Far Side comic. It has a sea, just an absolute sea of penguins. Each one of them black and white and nothing, and one of them is standing up in the middle singing, I gotta be me.
That sounds very
Yeah.
cute.
Yes, we are all
You really can't go
individuals,
wrong.
and we're all different, just like everybody else.
Yes. We're all individuals. All of us.
No, I guarantee you there will come a time, hopefully not for quite a while, but will come a time where we will say, man, do you remember DeviantArt? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and I mean, DeviantArt has gone through a lot of changes over the years.
Granted, yeah.
You know.
I think it's interesting that on DeviantArt I can change my name. I can change my I can change anything about myself except
Uh-huh.
my birthday.
I've never noticed that.
I can change what my gender is on DeviantArt,
Yeah.
but I can't change my birthday, which makes me
DeviantArt is kind of funny
slightly
in that way.
regret putting the wrong birthday in.
Oh, you put in the wrong birthday?
Well, when I signed up for it, I didn't know, and I didn't want them to send me stuff, and I'm like,
Uh-huh.
just put this date, it's good enough. And now I get lots of happy birthday, not my birthday, not my birthday, thank you, not my birthday.
So, how long have you been on DeviantArt?
Not a heck of a long time. I think I actually started on DeviantArt just to keep up with Pony fandom.
Oh, okay. So it's like a new thing for you.
A few years, but yeah, pretty new.
It's almost embarrassing to say I've been on that site for longer than that account. I've been on it for like 10 years now, almost.
Goodness, that's a long
I
time.
know. Yeah, yeah.
It's not embarrassing.
Yeah. Well, you know.
If you would tell me you proudly have a MySpace page that everybody needs to check out, that would fall
Oh,
into embarrassing.
yeah. I do have a MySpace page.
Do you keep up with it?
No, no. I
Okay.
do look at it sometimes.
Really? Oh,
Just to remember. You know, it's almost. Then I see all the people who are like still using it, and that's like.
wow, really?
I know. Sometimes if you ever if you do still have an account, just log on and just look, and you'll see that there is some people still using it. I just about guarantee you.
I think I still have a MySpace account,
I
but
think it may be like a private now.
I cannot for the life of me remember what the account name or password might be. I have no clue. Absolutely none. I did a theory a while ago with somebody who was talking about Animal Crossing, the game Animal Crossing. If you don't play Animal Crossing for a while, the people in that game get angry at you and start like, why haven't you come back? Why don't you visit us? And stuff. My theory was that Doctor Who's Daleks actually came about by millions of abandoned MySpace pages becoming sentient.
That's I'm trying to think of like that leap between MySpace, them gaining sentience.
Well, I don't think it would be just MySpace, because I think eventually it'll happen.
It's just kind of like all the discarded.
Yeah, all the discarded things. MySpace
get together and make it.
Yeah, eventually, the new thing comes on and people just forget about the old one, and it's going to be MySpace and Facebook and someday Twitter and someday DeviantArt, and just eventually there will be enough of it that it will gain sentience and say, hey, what about me? Let's kill all these humans. This is crud.
Maybe just all the cat pictures and videos on the internet. Maybe it'll battle it. Like MySpace is like jealous of these cats.
Mm-hmm.
or ponies as it's growing all the time.
Could be. Yeah. That's the next thing. We need to get on this. We need to invent pony cats. We need to get pony lolcats, and that will be the next big thing. It will take over the internet. We'll be so cutified that we can't work.
Yes. I really wouldn't be able to leave my monitor.
Yeah.
I'd just be staring into their big doe eyes. That would be the end of it.
Our verbal communication would drop to just different forms of squeeing. I can foresee this.
Yeah, as it was written.
But so Toxic Hazard, what is the spin on this villain?
I kind of like tropes.
Okay.
I kind of like just kind of like these ideas that keep getting cycled in and stuff. And so I kind of for her, like, she's definitely that kind of mad scientist trope.
Okay.
And and I made her like previous to there being a pony with kind of that trope, because now there is one. We have Maniac in the series that was just recently introduced, and she definitely fills that role now. I think that's why my interest in my own OC maybe kind of faded off a little bit.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. It was just kind of like I saw it done, and I saw it done better.
Well, yeah, to an extent, but at the same time, Maniac seems to be 1980s or 1970s comic book villain. It's very flat. No aspect to their personality yet.
That's true, but I mean, it's kind of like that's kind of the trope, isn't it?
Well,
Is that you there's not a lot of the individual stuff, but I did like that character.
Oh yeah, it was a good character.
I was kind of like, wow, that they did, that's kind of what I wanted. I wanted that out of the series, and they did it.
Yeah.
Because I wanted I wanted to see the superhero and supervillain kind of stuff in there, because I just felt like it would just fit so perfect. Why don't we see more of it? And then they did it. I was like, yay. Yep.
I can foresee. Okay, so I'll just open up the plot hole right here. Since Pinky brought cupcakes back from that world, she has left the door open, and Maniac will be able to invade Ponyville now.
Oh. Yeah. I guess they should do like a part 2 or something. Bring her back.
I don't think they'll do it this season or even next season, but I'm thinking future, they need an idea. Oh, turns out those cupcakes left the door to the comic book world open. Maniac can get in now. But so can the Power Ponies. So the Power Ponies team up with the ponies who have the elements of harmony, and we got 12 of them against Maniac now. Yay.
Yeah. And I know me and, got to be like like 1,000 other people want Pinkie Pie and Deadpool to like find a way to meet.
That's true.
There needs to be Pinkie Pie in a Deadpool comic or something.
Yeah,
I can see it working more that way, I guess, than the other way. Ooh, sorry, I dropped my.
I think that would be interesting, but at the same time, Pinkie and Deadpool combined, it wouldn't be breaking the fourth wall. It would be you'd never be able to create the fourth wall. Like, the whole comic would be just references to the person reading it and the fact that it's in a comic and, like, pop-out artwork and... Well, I would be remiss if I don't mention this. One of the artworks that you've done, it appears to be... I don't know how to describe this horrible thing. It's got hands and feet.
Yes.
What was this?
I was not paying attention.
Okay.
Classes.
I see. Okay.
I don't know. I was thinking of I think I don't know what I was thinking, but I think maybe I was just thinking of bro hoofs being hands.
Okay.
Because it's like when you do a bro hoof, you have to do your hand that way. And
sure.
Then, with ponies, theirs is just like that.
Right.
They're always the one hoof.
Right.
It doesn't change.
Okay.
I don't know. It's silly. It's just silly.
Okay. I can
another
accept
one.
that.
It's an original character on there too. That's pretty silly.
Well, just looking at this one, I thought for a second it might have been like a commentary on the people who draw anthropomorphized ponies, where they have a unicorn horn and their skin is green, but other than that, it's just a human.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, is this a social commentary on that, or is this just a funny sketch?
No, that's a good... I think you got more out of it than I've even put into it. So.
Yay, overanalyzation works. Woohoo! I'm so happy.
No, that's a great skill.
It doesn't always work.
I mean, I guess anybody will tell you that's been through art college. It's almost like you don't want to talk about it because it's kind of embarrassing, but it seems like really it comes down to being able to write the best artist statement.
Okay.
More than anything.
Mm-hmm. If
you can write an excellent artist statement, and usually by excellent I mean confusing as heck.
Right.
Then that's the that does better in kind of fine academic art. So being able to justify your art is far, far more important than what you create in the fine arts world. And that confuses a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
You get that kind of where people will compare two pieces of art where I've seen where people take a piece of, and I consider it all art. It's all art.
Oh yes, absolutely.
But somebody will take a piece of graffiti art, and then somebody will take a piece of fine art in a gallery where it's maybe just, I think it was just a canvas and it had been sliced, and stuff like that. And they're like, why is this real art and this isn't? And I'm like, nobody's saying that isn't real art.
Yeah.
It's just that they exist in different worlds.
Yeah.
They serve a different purpose.
Yeah. There was a short time in college where a group of friends and I were actually looking at different artist statements. And I don't even remember how it worked now, but we had a rating system. And it was like every time you're forced to use a foreign word, minus 2 points. And every time you have more than 4 adjectives that mean the same thing, minus 10 points. And
don't look at my artist statement.
Though, I mean, to be honest, the artist ones are easy to criticize, but you can go into, if you get specialized in any field, specialized enough, it will be completely foreign language to everybody else.
Oh, of course. Of course. I mean, that's just with anything.
I have a student who's actually a dermatologist, and occasionally she will bring in some reports that she wants to edit the English on. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, okay, I don't know what this says. And she'd be like, it's English, isn't it? I'm like, each individual word is English. This is correct, yes. And I believe the grammar is correct, but I have no idea what this procedure is, and I don't know what type of verb I should use for it, and I don't even know what this noun is. What is this?
Yeah, when my husband, he got higher up in his education,
Mm-hmm.
I would, when he was like earlier on in his education, I would read his papers and stuff to kind of help him. He'd do the same for me. Mm-hmm. And then as he got higher and higher up, I would just be like, I can't do this anymore. The words you use, I don't understand them. And it just has this very, it's hard to read things that are on a professional level.
Oh, sure. Yeah. And any group, and sometimes it's necessary, but if you use acronyms, that just gets so much more confusing.
Oh, God. Oh, tell me about it.
There are so many acronyms. There's only 26 letters, and usually an acronym is 3 letters. There's only so many combinations that make sense.
Yes. When I'm back in school now, and I started learning Cisco networking.
Okay.
And stuff, and I'm early in this, so I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna claim to know all this. I've just had one class so far.
Right.
But the amount of acronyms is ridiculous. Okay.
Yep.
Oh my god. It's that 7-layer model, the OSI model. Oh, anybody, like, I'm sure that there's some people listening that know what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. Like, learning that is awful, partly because of all the acronyms.
Yeah. Well, that's anything. My degree is in psychology, and after a while, I would get these acronyms, and then I said, you know what? Nobody in the world understands what we're talking about here. And it's not that we're not using English, just we're getting so specific and with acronyms that nobody can understand us.
Speaking of psychology, I guess I kind of have to ask: Have you read the new the DSM?
Oh no, I have not.
Well, something that's interesting, and I guess this is kind of relevant because I know a lot of Brodies have Asperger's. It's something that's just kind of in there.
Right.
And recently they've changed the name.
Okay.
It's pragmatic personality disorder.
Interesting.
And I think that is so much better.
I would agree. Yeah.
I was like, because the other one, I just felt like, can you really make it worse? With this name? Mm-hmm. Like, is it possible?
I fully admit the first time I heard somebody said they had Asperger's, I looked at them like, did you just make a lewd joke?
Yes.
Are you messing with me? What burger? Not hamburger. What did you say?
Asperger's. I've also heard that pronunciation, but not very often in America.
Well, this is good. I'm glad we have a name that can hope. I just hope that we stick with the name. I think that's the important thing at this point.
Well, I think, and to be honest, it'll be the name that's used by professionals and everything, but, in a slang way, it's going to be Asperger's. Like, it's going to stick. You just can't get rid of it now.
Right.
It's like a meme now.
Professional memes. We have invented something new.
But when I read that, I was like, oh, hey, makes so much more sense than what they were doing. Which sounds cool. It sounds cool, like pragmatic personality disorder. That sounds cool to me. Like, that sounds like an awesome thing to have.
Until we get to the acronym, because PPD doesn't sound nearly as cool to me.
Yeah.
PD, I don't know.
I almost thought PPG, like Powerpuff Girls.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, I'd like to mention one of the more recent ones. You did a Trixie picture.
Yeah. That one, like, wow, like that got an attention that I did not expect.
Well, this one is really shiny.
I know, it's so shiny. I think I was just in a shiny mood.
Okay. Which is one of the best moods you can ever get in, but yes.
It is, yes. I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. Like, the shine is overpowering in a lot of spots. But some people kind of liked it, I guess.
Yeah.
Because as I said, like I put it up. I had done the main ponies, and I've been meaning to go back and redo them because personally, I think that was like kind of when I was figuring it out.
Sure.
I was trying to kind of figure out how I want my ponies to look and kind of how ponies work. Period. And so they're not so good, and I've been meaning to kind of redo them, and I did Trixie kind of in the way that I was wanting to redo the other ponies, and it got like more attention than I ever thought. It was like, I like it was like one of those, you can kind of tell when you first upload it.
Right.
I mean, if you first upload it and you wait like 20 minutes and you refresh it and you get like you've got 5 views, then you know what you're okay. That one maybe not the best, or at least not maybe not necessarily the best, but just not as interesting to people.
Okay, sure.
I because especially with like original characters, like people. Some people really I like original characters a lot, but I know like some people they're just not interested.
Sure.
And I don't blame them. But that when I uploaded that, and I think I got like 50 views, like pretty like almost immediately, and I was like, oh crap. Like, I didn't expect that.
Well, something that I liked on it, on the head part, there are a few wispy strands of hair.
Oh yeah.
Well, it took me a little bit of looking at them to realize that it was wispy strands of hair. The first time I looked at it, and honestly, this does make it look really cool, I thought those were contrails. From like her whipping her head around, and that was like the After Effect glow. Just
what's that song? I whip my hair back and forth.
Yeah. You know what? Looking at her face right now, that almost matches that song, doesn't it?
It does. Like I had to go look at it just to make sure I knew what you were talking about. And I was like, it does look like that because I mean a lot of people said it looks like she's singing. I was like, okay, yeah, it does.
And I think it's a good thing. I think I never see contrails in pony art, and I like them. I think they're so cool.
I guess should consider doing a piece with something like that.
Yay! Contrails coming up. Woohoo! That would be a cool pony OC pony name. Contrails. Just everywhere they go, there's like an after image for about 30 seconds.
Yes, thank you for the idea.
Yay!
That might be a pony at some point. I don't know.
Yay! Wonderful. Contrails the pony. Really cool to start with, but after about an hour, like, stop following me, please. Well, a question that I ask in each of my interviews, in all of My Little Pony, what would you say is the one line or one scene that defines you as a brony?
Oh wow. Like what? Are you like asking like maybe what did I see a scene that maybe like made me decide okay this is it? Like,
if you'd like, sure. Usually when I ask the question, the first thing that comes to your mind is the best.
I'll be honest. When I first, I had seen the art on DeviantArt and I hadn't watched the show.
Yeah.
And I was seeing that it was getting like popularity, and I was kind of interested in like religious arguments at the time, and I just like to listen to like what people believe and why.
Sure.
I think it's a very interesting question to ask, and there was a lot of talk about there being a My Little Pony episode where they were saying that it was kind of like the atheist versus theist argument.
Okay, and I know which one you're talking about, right?
Yeah, I didn't quite get that.
Right.
You know what I mean? But like when I heard that, I was like, I was thinking I hadn't seen the show yet, and I was thinking, wow, is this show really like going these kind of places? I mean, because I know this is supposed to be for, this has got to be for pretty young children. I mean, and I didn't really quite get that feel out of it. I guess like, I think it came more as like kind of like trusting, sometimes just kind of trusting your instincts.
Yeah.
And I'm not, I don't really. I think that's a pretty nice message,
Oh yeah, I would agree.
That sometimes it's better to just kind of trust your instincts, and maybe trusting your instincts doesn't work as well for Twilight Sparkle as it does for Pinkie Pie. Maybe Pinkie Pie just has better instincts. I don't know. But maybe Twilight Sparkle is just one of those that does better when she, has to really like think and she has to be very skeptical. I don't know. But but I guess like when I saw that episode and I was like, I was hypnotized by the animation,
right,
and just like the quality of the show, and after seeing it, I couldn't stop after that. I had to watch all of it after that. But that's kind of what got me into it. It was I was hearing people having these really really like kind of deep conversations about what a show that's aimed at children, and so it's kind of one of those shows that I don't think it's really that, and this is just my opinion, but I don't think it's really that the messages are actually aimed at adults. It's just that adults can kind of get their they can relate it to their life just because they're just good lessons.
Sure.
It's just so easy, to just kind of watch an episode and it kind of means something for you at that time.
Right. Well, yeah, and I think there are some people who will assign different aspects to the show that were never intended.
Oh, of course.
I don't have any problem with that. Whatever, go for it. Just I don't like it when they argue those points.
Oh yeah. Which I mean, I've had people. Sometimes it's just this kind of weird thing with people in the fandom where I've had people like argue about things about a character on the show that is not. It's not really nothing's factual about it. Right. It's all like just fan made stuff, and they get into like an argument over it. And to me, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah. Like, I would absolutely agree there. I've had people that assume one thing, and because that's their headcanon, they will argue the point forever. And it's like, you assumed your main point, so the rest of your argument is invalid.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's. I mean.
But at the same time, you're right. It's nice that the show can encourage such discussion.
Yeah, I mean, I like that there's different interpretations. But we ultimately have to say, okay, this is just what I'm getting out of it. Right. It's not really, and it's not implicit in the show.
Well, are there any projects that are coming up that you'd like to plug while you're here?
Oh well, it's something that I don't. Of course, I don't want to reveal too much about it. Okay. Because it's kind of we're keeping it on the down low a little bit until we get everything together. Right. But I'm working on what may be a big project. It might be a game.
Oh, okay.
And I mean,
so I'm guessing that probably we don't want to speak of it, but maybe people should be watching your DeviantArt.
Yeah, if you're interested in PG.
I have no idea about that, but whatever. Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. Then, you might want to check out my gallery in like a month.
Okay.
Because
we won't say more about it, just in case, but we'll just say keep an eye out. There's a lot of work that has to be done. And I'm not the only one working on it, so a lot of talents have to come together, and so it's usual. Might happen. Let's hope.
Don't know yet. Yeah. I'm putting. That's why I probably won't be doing a whole lot of my DeviantArt right now, just because I'm trying to get the best quality work I could possibly make.
Sure.
In the shortest amount of time possible.
There are a few other people that I'm speaking to, and they are working on something that they can't speak of. It's disheartening to me to sometimes read the comments, why haven't you made anything? And they're like, I can't talk about it. I'm sorry.
Yes. Yeah, you feel bad. I'm one of those, I'll put something out there that's not even finished sometimes.
Yeah.
I'll put it, because I'm just so excited to get it out,
Right.
And so, yeah, don't tell me secrets. I'm terrible. Because I can't even, sorry, I just trailed off there. But I've been working on it, and the quality of my ponies has changed over the past year, and I'm trying to put out some really good quality art, and so I'm producing about a drawing a day, and that's pretty fast for me, because I'm a very slow person. Anybody who's like commission me will tell you like.
I've said it before, and I'll continue to say it again. If you commission an artist and expect rapid results, then you can expect terrible results.
Yeah.
Give them time.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, sometimes I'll put something out like really quick because I just
sure. Sometimes it can happen, but
everything just kind of fell into place that way.
Yeah, it can happen, but if you're depending on it, no, not gonna happen.
And I hate it, and I think I kept one girl waiting for like a year.
Ah.
Because I mean, I loved her vision like so much. I loved her character. I loved her vision, and I just wanted it to be perfect. And I think I like redid this picture like 3 times, just because I just wanted it to be good, and she was so like forgiving. She was awesome. She was just nice. Yeah, I'm always like so happy for with the people that they don't mind. I mean, I get some people that they're not really bugging me, but they're like, hey, I'm getting kind of worried. I'm like, don't worry. But if anybody is interested in commissioning, I am pretty cheap. I'm like crazy cheap. But
right,
also,
so are commissions open right now, or I guess kind of on hold until the.
If anybody has something that they want me to do, I could kind of put them on a waiting list.
Okay, well there we go.
I wouldn't just say no.
Right.
I would just kind of, I'd put it to the side, and sometimes I might get like a really strong idea with it and just start sketching it.
I want to make an animation, so it's 30 frames per second and it's going to be 10 minutes. Can you get it done by Tuesday? And I don't want digital art either.
Wait, what? Like what like a claymation? What are we?
No, I want you to use like colored pencils.
Oh, okay.
I can pay up to $10.
Oh, I have had somebody ask me to do art, and as I said, I'm like one of those. I like to I negotiate. If somebody's like, "Hey, that's a little much," I'm like, "Okay, well, maybe I could just cut this part out a little bit and take it down a price or something, to try to fit the budget."
Right.
But I have had people like ask me like give me a lot of really detailed information of what they want me to do, and then it's like, okay, so how much is that going to be? And I'm like, okay, it'll be I don't want to say because I don't like to keep price is kind of private, but
you say how much it is.
I'll say it's pretty cheap. It's pretty cheap, and then they'll say, oh well, I thought it was going to be like I think one time it was they wanted to pay me 30 points. And I was like, no.
I have had I as a side thing, I order and resell the Japanese plushies, which are just adorable, by the way. But I have had a person offer to pay me in bitcoins.
Ooh.
And I was like, no. I'm sorry, but I need something that I can go to the supermarket and purchase food with.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you wanted drugs or...
I don't. I really, really don't. And
like, yeah. For nowadays.
Yeah, and they went on and on, like several paragraphs worth of how wonderful bitcoins were and how I should accept them and blah blah. And my end point was, once the supermarket starts accepting them, then sure. But until then, no. Sorry.
And then they went Ron Paul 2012.
Yeah, it could have been. Yep.
But,
well, everybody, today we have been speaking with PYOO-kee Pony, or PYOO-kee Pony Jr. Thank you so much for coming by today.
Oh, yeah, it was no problem. I had a great time.
Everybody be sure to check her out on DeviantArt. And do you have a Tumblr?
I do have a Tumblr.
Oh, okay.
Let me like... I check the DeviantArt a lot.
Okay, but Tumblr is less so? Okay.
I do check it, though.
Okay.
I do check it. I went like a couple of months without checking it because I forgot my password. And I'm just like...
yeah.
But I've been checking it pretty regularly lately.
That's good. Okay, so yeah, check her out on DeviantArt and Tumblr.
It's PYOO-kee Pony. Yeah.
PYOO-kee Pony.
The Tumblr's just PYOO-kee Pony, and it's not spelled the funny way. It's spelled P-U-K-E-Y Pony.
Everybody, this has been Into the Spotlight with Osaka Jack.